Hello, everyone. Lovely to have you joining me for the week of June the first day of winter here in Oz, week 23 of our year. I'm using a kit from Nikki +3. As you can see, it is beautifully foiled with silver. It is so pretty. So it's not a dark wintry kit as sometimes they can be. It's still pretty and floral and fresh. It's called Baby It's Cold Outside, which is very appropriate because we have had a very cold start to winter. I'm going to use a few extra little boxes if I need them, and I've pulled in some extra foil pieces if I need those as well. So join me as I speed you through, as usual, the foundation, and stick around and go through this plan with me for this week. Thank you. Now that I've finished laying down the bulk of the foundation, I'm going to start marking my work week. So this week I've decided to use some little flags with silver foiling on them and my own work sticker across the top of the page on the 5 days that I'm working. And that's sort of how my week gets started on most occasions. So I'm also adding the today headers across the page for the things that will be going on in the day, which is why I have the little checklist which has the 3 separate boxes or separate lines on it so that I can mark in there some of the things that I need to get done. And they're in that lovely smoky blue again with just a hint of foiling on them, which is, they're simple but they're very effective and they look lovely. I think even though that's is a Christmas tree, a pink Christmas tree on the end there, I still don't think that it makes the kit necessarily a Christmassy one. I suppose it's just a matter of taste, really, isn't it? It's just too pretty not to use, and I have had it in my stash for a little while, and I did want to make the most of it. And you just can't go wrong with pretty pinks and blues. So I'm just continuing to add the pink to-do headers onto the boxes that have already been laid down. And these are in the lovely soft pink colourway of the kit. Again, simple, dash of foil, and quite effective, get the job done. So once I've laid down those headers, I've already filled up quite a bit of the page, so it's not leaving me a lot of space to fill in the activity. So something that I'm going to give some thought to as I go ahead forward. While we're in COVID time and activities are a little bit quieter, it's not so bad, but once we get back to normal, I'm going to run out of room to write the things that are going on and happening in the day. So I'm just using the weekend sticker up there on my weekend banner, and now I'm going across to my sidebar. So I decided to put the sticker at the top of the sidebar that has the baby "It's Cold Outside" on it. And as I said earlier, it has been quite a chilly start to winter here. We certainly know it's arrived, and quite wet too. We don't normally have get a bit of rain in the spring. We don't normally have a winter that's been as wet as this one has. But nevertheless, we've just come off a drought, so we're not going to complain about the rain, that's for sure. I like to lay down 2 habit trackers. I tend to use one for my steps and the other one for my vitamins. I haven't been very diligent with either of those just recently, so that's something I need to improve my game with as well. Now popping a little bit of washi between the next layer, and that's going to be a tracker for, tend to use it for meals. That's been working quite well for me, but sometimes I used to use it to track positive thoughts during the week. I like to do one sort of per day, and on other occasions I also track happy mail. But as I've been trying to be sensible with that and use some of the things in my stash, I'm definitely going back to using it for meals at this point in time. So I'm just whiting out that little calendar down the bottom. You can leave it if you choose, it's quite handy, but I've decided on this occasion to remove it, add some more washi, and just finish off the bottom of that section there. There was some lovely deco in this kit, so I thought it might be a nice idea to lay that down in the bottom corner where I've got a little bit more space than I might normally have. Some very pretty florals in this kit, and again, just a splash of foiling. That little vase or the little pitcher with the flowers in it was sweet as. And then I've added a bow to this. In Nikki's kits, if you buy the week they're released, you get a couple of little add-on of icons and bows, which are very handy. So starting on Monday, I've decided to mark the first day of winter, just up there on the top, using a little flag, one of the floral flags from the kit. And I actually don't mind winter. I quite like the changes in the seasons and the different plants that come into the garden. I love winter for the camellias and things, which is really great. I uploaded some reports on this day. I put away a haul that I'd previously filmed, and I got ready for an EHMC Zoom meeting in the evening. And I watched a few plan with me's of some of my favourite subscriptions, which often helps give me ideas for my things going forward, and that's the way this community works. Everybody shares ideas and different styles. There's so many different styles around. People are into lots of different things, lots of different colours, lots of different layouts. So I find watching the plan with me is quite inspiring. I do apologise that this has jumped around a little bit. I am still getting to learn iMovie, and I'm not as effective as I should be, but that's okay. We will get there. Patience, and in the end we should be right. So I've gone straight to Tuesday and marked that started the day off with coffee. Also received some happy mail on this day, and that was from Moby & Co, and they were some reusable sticker books. There was also minutes of the meeting that needed to be done. I did some filming and some editing, and they are marked in my to-do list. And then I've moved down to the bottom of the page where I have marked what I watched that evening, which was Good Bones. It's a fixer-upper, doer-upper show on, I can't think, I think it's on one of the Channel 9s. I just marked that TV show with my newest addiction, Heart, in the silver foil with a little tally on it. So I've moved across to Wednesday. It was a busy day at work on Wednesday. Had a couple of staff meetings and just sorting out our plans going forward as COVID continues to operate telehealth, and we look at what changes are going to occur as hopefully restrictions start to ease, but that will greatly depend on how things settle down. After coming home from a busy day, I did a thumbnail for one of my videos, and one of our sons came over for dinner that night. He watched a webinar with his brother and my husband, and he ended up staying after, which was really nice. I also watched a Hallmark movie at the end of the day, which is one of my faves. I've gone back up to the top of Wednesday and forgot that I needed to mark that before I started work, I nipped into Kmart to get a couple of albums for my foils. They were busting at the seams, and so I've just used a quarter box from the kit and added a shopping bag from the kit also, and popped into Kmart. I'm very fortunate where I work. Behind us is a Kmart store, which is extremely handy. Managed to get my albums, and that was going to be a job for me for the weekend. So Wednesday is now completed, and we're moving on to the second half of the week. Well, before I do that, I'm going to pop over and add my exercise and vitamin scripts to my sidebar, and then have a look at what we're going to do to start marking the rest of the week. Oh, I've also added a this week script to the top of my meal sticker. I suspect that I probably didn't have a meals heading in the silver to add to that one. Another reason why I'm sorting out my foils. Okay, so moving on to Thursday. Started this day off with, I'm adding a coffee sticker to the top of Thursday morning. I haven't put many coffee stickers in this week, even though there have been many cups of coffee, but it has been reasonably busy, and they all tend to blur into one another. But I definitely started Thursday morning off, as probably most of the others also. I'm using a coffee sticker and a heart from my newest addiction. The coffee sticker is, that coffee script sticker is from Planet Beautiful. So then after I've filled in that one, I've moved down to my to-do bar, where I noted that I did an e-script webinar and then an e-referral demonstration to try and get as many of our processes into electronic rather than paper, and that it was a cool but sunny day. I'm thinking of marking the weather through my planner at the moment. We'll see how that goes. Haven't actually found any weather stickers I really love just yet. So now I'm moving on to use another quarter box from the kit with a little heart from my newest addiction with some scissors to identify that when I got home that afternoon, I print and cut a group of stickers to use for a new spread. And I've just popped that underneath the today and above the to-do sticker. And then down the very bottom, I've marked that I did a couple of Instagram pics later on in the day and uploaded those to Instagram. And on this night, there was no telly watching, and I just had an early night. Again, that little Insta camera is from my newest addiction. Her icons are really just so lovely. The combination of the icon with the heart and the foil is pretty irresistible. So now I'm moving on to Friday, or Friday as I like to call it. The first thing I'm marking up there is that I need to finish the wages book to be ready for paying wages the following week. and get that spreadsheet up to date. That is sort of my morning first thing that I do on most mornings when I get in, is check all the wage book and make sure that that's as it should be. There's nothing worse than mucking up people's wages. So that's Friday morning. Often Fridays I also need to pay our accounts, which is what I did on this day. And then when I got home from work in the afternoon, I uploaded another video and I did some editing of the one that was coming behind it. Then in the evening, I relaxed fairly early after I'd finished those things and sat down to watch an evening of some of the movies that I like to watch on a Friday night, which is a little French detective one called Baptiste, and also Grantchester, which is sort of a little English whodunit. I'm afraid I'm a little bit boring. A lot of the things I tend to watch are of that genre. Love a good whodunit, and I quite like the British stuff. And so I've marked that at the end of the day on Friday. It ended up being quite a late evening, and which was fine because I did have a plan to sleep in the next morning, and there was really no reason why I couldn't do that. So I've used a flag from the kit to mark that. The sleeping sticker came from Monique Plans, and that's a lovely foiled sticker, and she's another Victorian planner girl. And the coffee that I'm going to put beside that will come from this sheet again from my newest addiction, which I've used quite a bit. I probably should have checked to see if it was on Nikki's sheet. I'm sure she would have had one too that matched with it. It's the trouble when you get into habits, they tend to die hard, don't they? And then I've also used a bow divider on Saturday from Planet Beautiful. So on this occasion, I had two of the grandchildren over for a sleepover. I also had enrolled in conversion of SVG courses that I wanted to do, and I did start doing that. And I made some scalloped flags for my to add to my little collection of kits that I do for myself. So down the bottom is where I've actually added that bow divider. You can just see that now. A pretty little bow divider. They're not too thick, but they just break things up nicely. And then that night we watched a movie with the grandkids. It was a really lovely, I'm not big into cartoons or animated movies, but this one was called The Star, and it was a really lovely story on the birth of Jesus. And the kids thoroughly enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it too. So a bit of popcorn and a movie. Moving on to Sunday, we had a bit of a sleep in again, and then we took the kids out for lunch. It was just after some easing of a couple of restrictions, and we went to a new restaurant that had opened up locally, which was really lovely. Then we had a lazy afternoon. The kids played some games. We enjoyed a bit of sunshine before their mum and dad headed out to pick them up. In the afternoon, we were supposed to be going to our second eldest grandson's 15th birthday celebration, but David was feeling unwell, so he actually had to cancel for that evening. But nevertheless, there was a birthday celebration, and it was had in our absence, and I'm sure it was enjoyed. I try not to put names in my planner so that my family get their privacy, but on this occasion I obviously just started writing without realising that. I usually just try and stick with initials. But anyway, it was a lovely happy birthday to Brandon, and 15. I can't really believe where that's gone, and it's just gone so quickly. And I've marked that with some stickers from Nikki's little icon sheet there, some balloons and a bow, and then I just marked under there that David wasn't feeling 100%, so I finished that off with an asterisk. So I'm just having a little look at the spread in general to see if I need to add any hearts or bows or anything that I usually bring in to add a bit of sparkle. but to be honest, there was so much foil in this. These are the kits, rather the stickers that I had left over. I've used a good few of them, but there is enough in there that I can pop a little bit of, actually there's very little when I look at the sheets. So just having a closer look and trying to pick up some of that sparkle, and the clips that I'm going to be using with the spread this week in my planner. There's a few things on the icons and bows, but not much in the general stickers. And then just trying to pick up a little bit of a wiggle with those foils, because they really are quite beautiful. And there's quite a lot of foil in this one. It's a very sparkly foily kit, and which is pretty typical of Nikki +3. Her foils are lovely. So just another little wiggle that captures the foil better, I think. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.